Dear Psykill, how are your new troops working out? Some better than others. As I feared, Oddball has fallen in with Vamp and Scorp, though I've been fortunate to keep monsters out of their clutches. It helps that Frightface is so standoffish. Unless Vamp or Scorp challenges him to a duel, he's going to naturally look down on them. Of course, it has likewise been difficult to convince him to take orders from anyone other than myself. His team is more pliable, and I've been purposefully sending them on missions with other renegades to help better integrate them into my forces. South Claw, in particular, seems to get on well with Stinker of all people. I don't see it, but I'm encouraging it nonetheless. The rest of my recent recruits have been doing well. Powwow and Breeze still have a natural tendency to stick together, but their GoBots upgrade has radically improved their confidence. Clutch and Warpath fit right in. As for Puzzler, they have been a smashing success, with one exception. It began when I sent Rube on his first solo mission to Earth, alongside Crane Brain, to conduct simple reconnaissance on a high-value target, one Dr. Blanco of UNECOM. He had been working on transmutation ring, able to turn one atom into another. The ancient fantasy of turning lead to gold was nearly a reality, and we renegades would have it, but there was an unexpected complication. The gruff Crane Brain had been mocking Rube for his complete lack of experience, and Rube was starting to get rather miffed about it. It didn't help that he continually made foolish errors. He had, after all, practically been built yesterday, when Dr. Blanco was ambushed by a tabloid reporter expressing disbelief at how much taxpayer money had been wasted with Blanco's alchemical fantasies that would never amount to anything. Blanco exploded with frustration, shouting at the woman and her cameraman. Rube saw in the doctor a kindred spirit and broke cover, saying he was tired of being mocked, and would the doctor care to do something about it together? The doctor agreed, and the two went off into the night. Crane Brain muttered, "Uh-oh, Psykill's not gonna like this," and then did the sensible thing and contacted me. At first I was livid, but then I began to see potential in this development. Meanwhile, the tabloid got the entire exchange on film, prompting General Newcastle to summon Leader One to deal with the situation. Leader One promised swift action, though Newcastle assured him that Blanco was a good man, just a trifle naive. Leader One promised that he'd keep this in mind and not go too rough on the man, though he had to learn that actions have consequences. Blanco and Rube next popped up at his alma mater, Texas A&M, where they attempted to acquire the optical waveform field inverter he needed to finish his transmutation ring. Things quickly got heated between them when Rube threatened an elderly professor, which Blanco had not anticipated. "What do you expect? I'm a renegade." Rube, however, had failed to anticipate the swift Guardian response, and soon found himself staring down Leader One, Turbo, and Scooter. "Darn, I hadn't expected them to show up so soon," he muttered, prompting Scooter to ironically echo his earlier sentiment. "What do you expect? We're Guardians." Turbo and Leader One got into a firefight with Rube, who was no match for 2-to-1 odds. Scooter and Nick pleaded with Blanco to come back to UNECOM and stop working with the Renegades, but Blanco was deaf to their words. The doctor managed to extricate them by mixing several chemicals together and making a smoke screen, enabling the pair to drive off with the technology they needed. Back at their temporary warehouse hideout, tensions were thick between Rube and Blanco. Rube hadn't realized that organics need regular food and sleep, which prompted another blow-up from Blanco about his idiocy. Rube nearly tore his limbs off, but then remembered how much he needed the transmutation ring. Besides, they now had everything they needed to be wealthy beyond belief, but Blanco hadn't realized that Nick had slipped a tracking device into his lab coat pocket, and the Guardians again showed up, this time bringing several hitchhiker and rich runner units for backup. Rube, the imbecile that he is, tried to fight his way out, only to get hand-blasted by Leader One. "I'm surprised you were foolish enough to try something like that," he expressed as he lay injured on the ground. "We had you surrounded." "Stop calling me a fool," he replied angrily, and then from hiding, I revealed myself. Yes, only I can call my men fools. I knew this naive moron would draw you out, Leader One. Soon the transmutation ring will be mine, and I'll have 3 less guardians to worry about. I had assigned Stinger to keep an eye on him, but the time to strike was now. I unleashed my quick-step mechs to counter the Guardians' hitchhikers and ridge runners, and then engaged Leader One, while Crasher used her seismic stomp on Turbo and Copter and a scooter, and Monstrous loomed in the background. Leader One didn't flinch from my attack, as I expected him to. He just activated a force field to protect his men. I expected you might think this way, Psycheal, so I brought a little backup of my own. I turned to follow the line of his vision, and saw 4 more Guardians in power suits: Royalty, Dozer, Road Ranger, and Treads. They formed courageous, and battled my monster to a standstill. My ambush had turned into a fair fight, and the transmuter wasn't worth the effort. I grabbed Rube and sounded the withdrawal, as Dr. Blanco was led away by Newcastle's troops. AJ lamented how all of this could have been prevented if Blanco was just a little less naive. Or Rube, added Scooter. How exactly is a 15-foot tall renegade going to spend all that gold? This got quite a chuckle from all assembled.